रञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जयो राधा माधव जयो राधा माधव राधा माधव जयो राधा माधव जयो राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे जयो जयो प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय Hare Krishna. So I welcome each and everyone to this part 2 of the series where we are discussing about the prayers, the beautiful, wonderful, amazing prayers by the wives of Kaliya. In fact, last week we saw how Kaliya appeared and was conquered by Krishna, punished by Krishna, and he was about to lose his life because Krishna was dancing so beautifully on top of his head. It was beautiful for all the Brajavasis who were sitting and watching, but it was also anxious moments for them. And at the end, when Kalia was about to leave his life, there appeared his wives. And they appeared very hastily, not properly dressed, and keeping the children in front of them, they appeared and started to praise the Lord by first speaking the 6 verses, which is on mercy. And their intention was to speak the first 6 verses, which is to say his correctness of this punishment. Then they wanted to move into the 10 verses where they speak about his greatness and they pay their obeisances. And finally, they would like to put their some humble submission and plea in the last 5 verses. So we saw 3 to 4 verses last time. So we will continue from verse number 37 today. But before that, we will offer our Mangalacharan and ask for auspicious benedictions so that we can successfully understand or even try to understand the meanings of these wonderful, wonderful prayers. Every prayer has deeper meanings, and without asking for blessings and prayers from the previous acharyas and our spiritual master and Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, who is the ambassador for the spiritual world, who is the ambassador of all this literature that has been given by Veda Vyas and many others, we have to pray unto his lotus feet so that through his purports, he can make our hearts realize the beautiful transcendental ecstasies that is going to be unfurled. So let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the acharyas. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरम श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम
Ram
राम हरे हरे. So we continue the beautiful narration about the glories what the Nagapatnis, the wives of Kaliya, are providing, and they are standing in front of Krishna, and in front of Krishna, they are providing these wonderful prayers. So let us look at the prayer that we had. Then prayer number 36, which we saw last week, where they come in front of the Lord, and the first thing that they say is, "Oh Lord, what you have done is completely correct. You have given the punishment and it is completely correct." And after saying that, they are expecting for mercy, but they are continuing their prayer. And in 36, they mentioned about a very great thing, a very unique thing. And they said that there are so many people in Vrindavan, like Lord Brahma, like Mother Lakshmi, who are constantly trying hard to get his association, but they are unfortunate, or they are unable to get his association on a constant basis. But Kaliya is not like that. Kaliya, though he is crooked, though he had pride in his heart, he was swayed by passion and anger. They are surprised that how come Krishna not only gave his association, but also gave the dust of his lotus feet on the heads, or on the hoods of Kaliya. So in the 36th verse, they are talking about this anxiety or this surprise, that what did Kaliya do? Oh Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya has attained this great opportunity. What is this great opportunity? Being touched by the dust of your lotus feet. So, this is our first learning, that getting Krishna's lotus feet is definitely great. But even greater than that is the dust of the lotus feet. So, this dust of the lotus feet has got very, very great significance. And we will see that in the next verse also. And where in Srimad Bhagavatam this dust is mentioned, and what Srila Prabhupada also mentions in that. Because they are surprised, because this dust is not even available for Lakshmi ji, who is sitting in Belavan and doing tapasya for so many millenniums, trying to achieve the association of Krishna. So even goddess of fortune performed austerities for centuries, and she gave up even the association of Narayan in Vaikunta, and she wanted Krishna, but till now she is not being successful. But is she doing it simply? No, she is observing very austere vows, very, very austere. and still she has not got. But we are surprised that how Kalia has got it. So like this they were saying, and they are further surprised by the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. And let us go ahead. So today's first verse, which is text number 37, we continue from here. We will try to see 10 verses today, and we will try to churn the maximum out of it. Very, very deep verses and very great verses have a meaning on the upper layer. At the same time, there are hidden meanings everywhere. So we will unfold them through the vision of our acharyas, through the vision of Sridhar Swami, Madhvacharya, Sanatan Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and of course, Srila Prabhupada, who has mixed all of these purports and given very beautiful purports, and we will try to read all of them. So let's go with text number 37. न नाकपृष्ठं न च सर्वभौमं नापारमेष्ठ्यं न रसाधिपत्यं न योगसिद्धिरपुनं भवं वा वाञ्छन्ति यत्पादरजप्रपन्ना वाञ्छन्ति यत्पादरजप्रपन्ना वाञ्छन्ति यत्पादरजप्रपन्ना. This beautiful last line says the prayer in its totality. Vachanti yat pada raja prapanna. Vachanti, those who have desired. Yat pada raja. Raja means dust. Yat pada raja means dust of the lotus feet. Of whom? Of Krishna. Those who have attained. So those who have attained the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna, they never hanker for what? Na naka prishtam. Naka prishtam means that heaven. Those who have tasted, those who have got in touch with the lotus feet's dust, na naka prishtam. Look at the verse, how it is starting. It is starting with a giant na. Na means no. Generally, people don't start a sentence with no. They will have some build up, and after the build up only they will say no. But here they are categorically starting the statement with no. No heaven. That is the first thing they are saying. Not heaven. If you look at it, the first words attributed here, not heaven, not even supreme sovereignty. Sarva Bhaumam. If sovereignty means a great ruler or a monarch, or people want to become a great person in this world. So those who have desires to go to heaven, those who have desires for supreme sovereignty, that they want to become the greatest ruler, na parameshtyam. Some people want to become the top of this material world in terms of the position of the creator, like Lord Brahma. Not rasadhipatyam, rulership over the entire earth. All these are desires. And some people have feelings that, okay, these are all material desires. Let me leave all this and take to yoga practice. So the wives are saying, na yoga siddhir. Those who want to perfect the yogic practice, apunab bhavam. Some people say, okay, I don't want yogic practice. I just want freedom from rebirth, which is called as liberation. That also, these kind of desires are forgotten or not even interesting. Why? Because they have got the dust of your lotus feet. Nanaka prishtam, nacha sarva bhaumam, na parmeshtyam, na rasadhipatyam, na yoga siddhir apunar bhavamve. So what does this say? So this Sridhar Swami says very beautifully that this exemplifies, if you have to keep in a balance the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord and the position of Brahma, the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord will rise up because it is greater. But it is only achieved to whom? Prapannaha, those who have attained. So those who have attained the lotus feet of the Lord, those who have got mercifully from the Lord the dust of the lotus feet, they do not desire for any material positions. So Madhvacharya here, he says, I also want to comment on this. So Madhvacharya here says very beautifully, he says that those who constantly read the Vedas, they get one thing very clear. By reading the Vedas, they understand that we have to get liberation. We have to become liberated from this material world. But Greater than liberation is just seeing the form of Hari. Just seeing Lord Hari directly face to face is greater than liberation. Greater than seeing Lord Hari face to face is getting the association of Lord Hari. Like Gajendra got very intimate association of Lord Hari. Hari actually kept the feet of Gajendra on his lap. He took it to his uttri, blowed nice hot air on it, and touched on the deep gashes made by the crocodile. This was the association that Gajendra got. So Madhvacharya is saying by reading one should get liberation as his ultimate goal, but greater than that is seeing the Lord Hari directly. Greater than seeing the Lord Hari directly is the association of the Lord. But greater than association of the Lord is getting the lotus feet of the Lord. But even greater than getting the lotus feet of the Lord is getting the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is the exemplified meaning that the Patnis are saying, that highest goal of getting the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord, where association is there because you danced on his hoods, he saw you face to face, you gave him association, and he is getting liberation. That to nobody, let's not even talk about it. He's not even going to go to heaven. He is going to get liberated. He has got liberated because your foot imprints are on Kaliya's head. Look at the depth in which the wives are saying, Nana Kaprishtam Nacha Sarva Bhaumam. He is not going to go to heaven or any other place. So this is very, very clearly mentioned. But here, as Sanatana Goswami says, I also want to say something. And Sanatana Goswami says that, why is dust so great? Why Krishna's particular form, association, you are actually putting the dust of the lotus feet as so great? Because Sanatana Goswami says the dust has got a very, very peculiar property. This dust of the lotus feet removes the dust in our heart. What does it do? It cleanses our heart of all the material desires, because this dust has that peculiar property. So the dust has this peculiar property of all the desires up to heaven, up to sovereignty, rulership over earth, position of Brahma, and it has the capability to give us the topmost love of God. So this is what the dust does, and we are surprised. We are ultimately surprised that Kaliya got this dust. Brahma and Lakshmi are sitting and doing tapasya. They have not got this dust. Kaliya got this dust. So then Krishna, hearing this, he asks a question. That question is not there here in Srimad Bhagavatam. So then you will be like, Are Prabhuji, if it is not in Srimad Bhagavatam, how do you know? Because there are our Rasik devotees like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur who writes these questions in between. Krishna says, why are you speaking so great about my dust? What is so great about it? What fruit does it give, my dust? Then the Nagapatnis say, oh Krishna, please don't talk about it. Don't say that the dust gives what fruit or what result. The dust is the result of everything. The dust is the crown of fruits. The camphor dust of Vrindavan is everything that we can actually count for. Seeing your footprints in the dust of Vrindavan, if we actually roll, our entire body gets supremely cleansed. So even liberation is lower to all other fruits of labor, but you are getting your dust of the lotus feet is the ultimate. So that is why Srila Prabhupada translates, they are not even interested in the perfections of yoga or even in the liberation itself. So they continue. They continue and say, Tadeshanatha apadurapamanyas tamo janikrodavaso apiyahisha samsara chakre bhramata sharirino yadichatasya vibhava samakshaha. What a beautiful shloka. This shloka has at least 3 or 4 meanings hidden in it. And let us try to unfurl. But first, let us see Srila Prabhupada's translation and a little bit of small purport. So here he says, oh Lord, although this Kaliya, so they are continuing their surprise. They're continuing their surprise in saying, I cannot believe he got the dust. But you know why we are surprised? Because he is Kaliya. He is the king of serpents. He has taken birth in the mode of ignorance, and any time you go to him, he is controlled by anger. Look at the qualities that they are telling about their husband. Generally, if you ask a wife, she will tell good things about the husband, hopefully. But in this case, they are coming and completely saying all the complaint books that they have been writing for time immemorial. They are saying, you know what? This Kalia, he is the king of serpents. He is the king of snakes. He is an offender. He always gets angry. He is envious. He is crooked. And though these are his qualifications, this is his biodata, this is his CV, this is his resume, what he has achieved, it is difficult for others to achieve. And who are others here? Prabhupada writes, embodied souls who are full of desires and are thus wandering in the cycle of birth and death. Samsara chakre brahmarta sharirino. There are many living entities who are having different bodily structures, and they are having various different desires. And in this samsara chakra of birth, death, old age, and disease, they are constantly traveling based on their desires. But all their desires, whatever they have desired, can have manifested right in front of their eyes if they get yad ichitaha, yad ichitaha. If you desire, syad vibhava samaksha. Vibhava means opulence. Yad means your dust. The dust which they are talking about in the previous verse, they are saying any person who is wandering in this material world is having a lot of desires. All those desires get completely manifested once they get the dust of your lotus feet. And that also if you desire. This is what they are saying. So this seems like the topmost meaning. So Srila Prabhupada writes here, right? If we want to get free from contamination of Maya and establish ourselves in the perfect consciousness of absolute truth, we have to get the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. But Srila Prabhupada says, we cannot expect that Krishna will come and dance on our head. Although we conditioned souls may not receive the mercy of the Lord dancing on our head, but we can make our spiritual master, our Guru Maharaj, dust on the lotus feet. So Srila Prabhupada here is directly connecting to the spiritual master. We can receive the dust of the lotus feet of the absolute truth through the Lord's representative, the bona fide spiritual master, and thus go back home, back to Godhead, forever freed from the misery and ignorance of the mundane universe. A very beautiful thing is, Kalia got the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord and was sent to Fiji. But here Prabhupada is saying, if you get the representative's dust, what will happen? We can go back home, back to Godhead with Krishna, 24 hours association. This is the greatness of the dust. And this is exemplified in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto. In fact, sorry, it is exemplified, sorry, chapter 12 of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the Rahuguna, this conversation happens, and this is a very famous word where it says, Vina Mahatpado Rajo Abhishekam. It doesn't say, please take the dust of the lotus feet. It says, Rajo Abhishekam, smearing all over the body. Abhishekam means putting it all over the body. What does it say? My dear King Rahuguna, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth. So this is what Kalia is exhibiting. How Kalia surrendered and understood the absolute truth, because he got the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. Because that Lord walked on the same Vrindavan where his devotees were also walking. So the dust of the devotees, the dust of the Lord, both were now smeared on the head of Kalia, and that is why he is supposed to understand and realize the absolute truth. It is this factor that the Nagapatnis are actually mentioning. They are saying that you cannot actually get this greatest benefit unless and until you get the lotus feet of the Lord. But now there are two more things that are being mentioned here. What is that mentioned here? It says Tadesha Natha. Natha means, hey Ranganath, hey Natha. Natha means the Lord. But here the connotation is Natha means you can do the impossible also possible because you are the Lord. Nothing is impossible for you. You can do that what is capable, which is not capable, can be also made capable by you. Indirectly, they are saying generally such a person should be punished, but you are capable of excusing him. So please excuse our husband. These every word that they are using in their prayer has got a deeper meaning. And when we actually read this particular line, samsara chakre brahmata sharirino, we think that they are saying that a person who is running in the samsara chakra, iha samsare bahu dukkhare kripya pahi pahi punarapi jananam punarapi maranam punarapi jhatare shayan punarapi janani jhatare shayan. So it says punarapi maranam, again death, again birth, again death, again birth, again a mother, again a birth. Like this, we are constantly in this cycle. But here there is a hidden meaning what they are saying. Samsara. Samsara means this entire world, universe you are going. Chakra. Chakra means birth, death. But another word of samsara is samyak itisara. Samyak itisara means complete essence. So if you read this entire statement in a different way, samsara chakra, in this entire universe, what is the samyak sara? What is the essence? Essence is liberation. So if you actually see, the Nagapatnis are indirectly also saying, Krishna, we also want to tell you that in this entire universe, if somebody understands that liberation is the ultimate essence, and based on it, he, Brahmataha, he goes to heaven, he goes to many other planets. Why they are saying? Because in the previous verse, they mentioned about heaven. So they are contemplating on that and also saying if somebody gets a different form or a body goes to heaven or even goes to up to Brahman, gets liberation, but is still running around these mystical worlds which you have created. Brahmata Sharirino, you are actually going again and again and again. Yadichitasyad vibhavaha. Here vibhavaha starts, that means opulence. So in this entire world, if there is supreme opulence, where is that? That is in Vaikunta. So if you show Vaikunta to such people, then they will get the dust of your lotus feet there. So indirectly they are telling where the content repository of this dust is there. And this dust gives that highest benefit. So this samsara chakra, brahmata sharirino, not only mentions about the birth, death, old age, disease chakra and the punarapi janana, punarapi marana. It also talks about post liberation. It also talks about post liberation. If we are running in material mystical worlds, this dust can take us home back to bad God. And that is why Srila Prabhupada wrote here very clearly that we can receive the dust of the lotus feet and it can take us back home back to God. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this dust is the crown of all the fruits. And achieving this fruit, all other desires are completely manifested. And what is the desire that will manifest? That I don't need any desires. This is the highest desire, that I want association of Krishna. So this is the beautiful prayer that the Nagapatnis are saying about the two dust particles, which is the two verses on the dust particles of the Lord. And the next verse, I humbly request all of you, I will read this verse thrice. Please, how much our voice you have, don't worry about who is next to you, what will they think. If you are in a public place, please mentally at the topmost of your voice, please recite this prayer out there. Please, this is my humble request. This is not my request, because if you want to see the purport, Prabhupada says this beautiful Sanskrit poetry of this verse should be chanted out loud. For whom? for the transcendental pleasure of the reciter, in this case, it is Shukadeva Goswami, and the hearer, Parikshit Maharaj. We are just humble souls. So this is Prabhupada's instruction that we should chant this mantra, this shloka very loudly. So please, I will chant it thrice. Wherever you are, please take this opportunity because Prabhupada is saying so. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahatmane Bhutavasasya Bhutaya Paraya Paramatmane Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahatmane Bhutavasasya Bhutaya Paraya Paramatmane Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahatmane Bhutavasasya Bhutaya Paraya Paramatmane. Such a simple shloka, but this has the deepest of the deepest meanings. And we should remember and we should memorize this shloka. It is a very easy shloka to memorize. And in fact, every time we go before the Lord, if we actually say this shloka, Krishna will get pleased. Because this shloka is not explaining directly what Krishna is. This shloka is explaining the amazement through contradiction. This shloka is explaining the bewilderment, the impossibility, and the possibility. Both are being compared face to face. In fact, Krishna will be like, wow, what a nice prayer. You're talking about both sides of my story. So let us look at this prayer, what it says. The first word is namas. Namas means they are now moving slowly into the second phase of their prayer. Till now, they spoke about the correctness of his punishment and amazement. Now, the next 10 verses, they are going to speak about the obeisances that they are going to pay to the Lord. The Lord is still standing on top of Kaliya. And while he is listening to these prayers, the first prayer that they are giving to their obeisances, and because they want to say, now we are going to start our obeisances, they are starting with this word called as namas or namaha, which means obeisances. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahatmane. Let us first see this word Purushaya. What does this word Purushaya means? One meaning is he is a Purusha, he is a supreme person. But Srila Prabhupada here translates it as who are present within the super soul, within as the super soul. Sorry. So Krishna, Hridayeshu Tishtati, he is actually sitting in our heart as super soul. So this word Purushaya is saying Krishna is sitting in the super soul, as super soul. Sorry. So we are saying okay. But the very next word is a contradiction. Mahatmane. At the same time, you are sitting here. At the same time, you are everywhere. You are all pervasive. Why? Because the minute you say that Krishna is sitting as super soul, he is sitting at one place, many people will ask, oh, that means he is only there. If I go there, only I will get him. No. The Nagapatnis are saying, you are there, at the same time, you are everywhere. You are all pervasive. You are Mahatmane. You are a supreme person. So then the person will ask, oh, if he is all pervasive, then he doesn't have a form. No, he says Purushaya. That means he has a form. So look at the contradictions happening in two words, Purushaya, Mahatmane. Purushaya means person. He is having a form. At the same time, he is present everywhere with a form. He is within the heart as super soul. At the same time, he is everywhere also. Then what does he say? Bhutavashaya Bhutaya. Bhutavasha. That means as super soul sitting within, he is controlling all the jivas. But at the same time, with Bilva Mangala Thakur is performing a nice puja, Krishna gets controlled. The jiva is being controlled by the super soul. But at the same time, the Supreme Lord who is sitting in the heart as super soul is controlled by the beautiful um, jivas. This is also being mentioned here. Bhuta Vashaya Bhutaya. So the very form of jivas, he is also controlled by the jivas, by his devotees. Aham Bhakta Paradhino, like last time Purushottam Prasad Prabhu mentioned the beautiful shloka. Bhakta Paradhino, Aswatantra. He said, I don't have the Swatantra, I don't have the independence. Krishna loses his independence when the jiva is controlled. So Bhutavashaya Bhutaya, Paraya Paramatmane. Para means he is the controller of all. And at the same time, he is the Paramatma. He is the inspirer of all. What does that mean? Why is this contradiction being mentioned? Because if he is the controller of all, that means Krishna sanctions an action. Trinamapi na chalati. Suppose I want to lift this mouse. If I have to lift this mouse, Krishna has to sanction. So within Super Soul, he sanctions this action. But whatever action we do, suppose we do an action which is incorrect, though he sanctions the action, and that out of our free will, we do an incorrect action, the fault of that action is not going to Krishna. So that means he sanctions the action, we have our free will, and with the free will he sanctions the action, but the result of that action is not applicable to the person who has sanctioned. At the same time, if the action is incorrect, then we get punishment, and that is also sanctioned by Krishna. That is what it means, Paraya Paramatmane. It looks very simple that you are the supreme cause and at the same time you are beyond the material cause. But here the Nagapatnis are saying, look, Kalia did a mistake, but you are sitting as a super soul. He was sanctioned the action, and though his mistake is there, it is not applicable to you. We are not blaming you. At the same time, you came for punishment, which is acceptable to him. So you sanction, you inspire, you punish. Everything is done by you. And hence, you are the cause of all causes, but material causes are not your causes. You are beyond any material cause. You exist pure. You exist absolutely there. You are supreme absolute truth. Look at the beautiful contradictions that are being mentioned in such a small sloka. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, while you have explained all this, my dear Sanatana Goswami, Sridhar Swami, and everybody, I would like to explain the first line. Namastubhyam Bhagavate. Bhagavate means Bhagavan, one who has 6 opulences. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is actually a Rasik devotee. So he says, the Supreme Lord, who is the possessor of 6 opulences, has assumed Purushaya, human form. And though he has a human form, he is not limiting himself. He is pervading everywhere. Mahatmane. He is worshipable. Bhutavashasya. Bhutavashasya means in the heart of the yogis, he is getting worshipped. But Bhutaya, but he has existed much before these yogis also. He has existed much before this creation also. Paraya, para means he's been always there. He's always existed. He is the supreme cause and he does not have any material cause. Another meaning of this Bhutavasya is very, very important. And we all should know this because one favorite devotee of Srila Prabhupada, the heart of Sridham Mayapur, his name is synonymous with Bhutavasya. Can anybody guess who I am mentioning? He is known as one of the most important personalities in Sridham Mayapur. A Prabhupada disciple.
Oh, Prabhupada.
Yes. He is currently with us in Sridham Mayapur. And for that, we have to go to a special verse and see what Srila Prabhupada says. So let's go to that verse. Everybody knows this verse, how he is called as Bhutavasa, that he is in all living entities. Jayati Jana Nivaso Devaki Janmavado यदुवर परिषत्स्वैर्धोर्भिराशयन्न धर्मम् तिरचरविर्जीनग्नः सुस्मितश्रीमुखेन व्रजपूरवनितानं वर्ध्यान् कामदेवम् जयति जननिवासो देवकी जन्मवादो जननिवासो. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 90th chapter 48th verse, this beautiful prayer is there, and there also it says Lord Sri Krishna, he is known as Jana Nivasa, the ultimate resort of all living entities, and who is also known as Devaki Nandan or Yashodanandan. So in this chapter also it is saying he, although he is present in the hearts of all living beings, Bhuta Vasasya is synonymous to Jana Nivasasya. So Jana Nivas Prabhu, every time we think, every time we see Jana Nivasa, he is actually living with the Janas, the Vaishnava Janas in Mayapur, keeping Radha Madhav in his heart. So we should be always mentally asking for his dust and lotus feet because he is constantly serving the Lord. Anyway, I just wanted to exemplify how beautifully Srila Prabhupada has chosen names of his devotees, his disciples. It's all from Srimad Bhagavatam. If we read Srimad Bhagavatam very carefully, we get these names and we'll be like, oh, every time we actually hear the name, we will remember Krishna. So in this beautiful verse, Namastabhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahatmane Bhutavashasya Bhutaya Paraya Paramatmane, the Nagapatnis are beautifully representing the contradiction and the amazement in the contradiction in this particular verse. Next couple of verses are for those who like to find logic in everything. And the Nagapatnis are giving us the ultimate logic. In the material world, many people foolishly say that, intelligence is limited to men. But here, the ultimate intelligence of intelligence is being mentioned by the greatest Nagapatnis we should be following in their footsteps. How beautifully they are explaining. Let's learn the next shloka. Jnana Vijnana Nidaye Brahmane Ananta Shaktaye Agunaya Vikaraya Namaste Prakartayaya Cha. The biggest of the concepts are explained in the smallest of the slokas. And the smallest of the slokas give us the maximum bliss. So let's look at what they are trying to say. Obeises unto you. Again, they are continuing their obeisances. This is the second verse of their obeisances. They are saying, obeisances unto you, O absolute truth, who are the reservoir of transcendental consciousness. Jnana. Jnana means transcendental consciousness. Vijnana means spiritual potency. So they are saying you are the reservoir, you are the full tank or reservoir of consciousness and spiritual potency. And at the same time, Brahmane Ananta Shaktaye, unlimited possessor of energies, possessor of unlimited energies, Ananta Shaktaye. So you are reservoir of transcendental consciousness, you are the reservoir of spiritual potency, you are the reservoir of unlimited energies. And although you are free from material qualities and transformations, you are the prime mover of material nature. Now, somebody reading this purport or this particular shloka will not get a tail and head at how the Nagapatnis have suddenly started saying something which is so out of context. Currently, they're talking about contradiction, and here they're saying you are free from transformations. What transformations are they talking about? You are the prime mover of material nature. What do you mean by prime mover of material nature? These questions also came into my mind when I actually read this. But I had to read Srila Prabhupada's purport. And that is where purports come very important. Prabhupada gives a 6-line beautiful, 5-line beautiful purport. Those who consider themselves intellectual, philosophical, or rational. Whom does this apply to? Not anybody else, us. We are the ones who think we are very intellectual. We will talk all the things very particular. The Prabhupada is speaking to us. Those who think themselves as intellectual, philosophical, and we are very rational. Prabhuji, don't tell me all these stories. Give us rational logic of how this is going to happen. Prabhupada is speaking for them. Those who consider themselves intellectual, philosophical, or rational should carefully note here that the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, is ocean of all knowledge and consciousness. So, jnana and vijnana means Krishna is the source of knowledge and consciousness. Thus, Prabhupada is saying, first we should surrender unto Krishna. Thus, surrendering unto the Supreme Lord does not entail giving up our method of rationally comprehending reality. Many people say, I won't go to Krishna because it is not a rational decision. It is a sentimental, emotional, harsh decision, and it is not rationally made logic. Prabhupada is saying, no. By surrendering unto Krishna, first understand Krishna is the source of all knowledge and consciousness. Hence, rationality is a part of that knowledge. So, hence, if you surrender to Krishna, you are rationally making a correct decision. And if you don't surrender, it is an irrational decision. Rather, one merges into the ocean. So Prabhupada is saying, by surrendering to Krishna, what happens? If you think that it is not a rational decision, then you are getting left out. Why? Because Krishna is the ocean of rational and logical comprehension. And look at the timing of this purport. He is writing that Krishna is the source of rational and logical comprehension. Just in the above verse, the Agapatis are saying you are incomprehensible, because you are there in the soul, you are pervasive everywhere. But this is the rationality, because please understand that when a person sees contradiction and the unilateral kind of overlap, that he is the same person who is sitting in the who is sitting as super soul and all pervasive everywhere, who is actually the supreme personality of Godhead beyond the material nature, and who understands this is actually having the rational thought. And hence Prabhupada says, if we surrender to Krishna, then only we are making this rational, and we are merging ourselves. Merging means we are understanding our thought process with the ocean of rational and logical comprehension. Hence, the Supreme Lord is the perfection of all sciences and all forms of knowledge. And who will not surrender? Only envious and trivial minds could deny this obvious fact. I really like this purport, because in 5 lines, he is kind of giving a conclusion to millions of theses papers which are being written in the modern world, just to talk about whether understanding God is rational or irrational. And here is Prabhupada's final bullet message in 5 sentences, clearly saying, if you don't surrender, that means it's the greatest irrational decision, because we understand that Krishna is the most rational person. But now, this still does not answer our couple of questions. What are the couple of questions? What do you mean by free of material qualities and transformations? Why Nagapatnis are speaking about transformations? Because anything in this material world, anything you take in this material world, anything which has a material quality will transform itself. It will have a transformation. If you keep that object just like that, it will transform itself. If you keep salt, it will evaporate, it will transform. If you keep water, it will become stale, it will transform. If you keep body just like that, after a time it transforms. Everything in this material world undergoes a transformation of birth, death, old age, and disease. Or inanimate objects also undergoes the life cycle of diminish. But they are saying here that Krishna is the only person who is free of these material qualities. Therefore, he does not transform. He is always Navayovanam cha. And not only he is Navayovanam cha, he has complete knowledge and consciousness. And because he has complete knowledge and consciousness, and he is free from this material world, hence he can act on the nature and make it transform. Hence he is called as the prime mover of material nature. I'll say that again. Because Krishna is not part of this material nature, he is completely spiritual. He does not undergo transformations like material nature or material qualities. And because he has full knowledge and consciousness of how to act, he can move the material nature. So, this is what they are saying very beautifully, that he is a supreme person, he is supreme knowledgeable, and he does not undergo any transformation, and he is the prime mover of material nature. Isn't this rational, my dear devotees? Isn't this perfectly logical, that how he is beyond this material world and still the cause of all causes of this material world? That is why Srila Prabhupada is saying that this is the ocean of rational, logical comprehension. So anybody, any scientific person, anybody from the Bhaktivedanta Institute, or anybody who is looking forward for understanding this beautiful universe, they should read this particular verse which says Jnana Vijnana Nidahe Brahmane Ananta Shaktaye Agunaya Vikaraya Namaste Prakartaya. Such small, beautiful verses, but having such deep meanings. And then we'll see two more verses today. Kalaya Kalanabhaya, beautiful verse again. Kala Vyavya Sakshine Vishwaya Tat Upadrashtre Tat Kartar Vishwahetave Kalaya Kalanabhaya. Kala means time, and Kalanabhaya means one who gives shelter of time. Kala Abhayava, one who is the witness of all the phases of time. Sakshine, he is the witness. Vishwaya, he is the form of the universe. Tat Upadrashtre, he is the observer. He is the creator, and he is the cause. So basically, they are now connecting time. Now, the question comes, why are the Nagapatnis talking about time? Is it that they are saying Kaliya's time is bad, that is why he has got into all of this? No. They are further paying the obeisances. They are paying their obeisances and saying, you are time. In fact, you give shelter to time. You are the witnesser of time, and you see time in all phases. You are beyond time. In fact, time, there was a time when time was created, and that was created by you, Krishna. So time is taking shelter of you. Kalaya Kalanabhaya. And at the same time, while time is getting shelter unto you, you witness the activities of time. So you stand outside time, and time is not applicable to you, and you witness the activities of time. And as a witness, that means you are also the separate observer. You stand aside and you observe. And you are the creator and also totality of its causes. So in fact, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, many people say Krishna comes in at a particular point of time, in a particular place. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is trying to say, don't think like that. Just because he is coming at a particular time, particular place, he is not limited by his different appearances. He appears with his full potency in each of his places. So don't limit himself to time, because even time takes shelter of him. At the same time, Sanatana Goswami says, I would like to say something here. He says that time, Kala, is a potency, and it takes shelter of Krishna. But Krishna observes the limbs of time. He observes what time does, when it does, what it does. So does that mean that Krishna is standing inert, not doing anything? Immediately the next two verses say, don't think that Krishna is just standing inert, not doing anything. He doesn't have any activity to perform. He says, Tat Kartara Vishwa Hetave. It says he is the creator, he is the witness, he is the arranger, he is the source, he is the performer, he is the result. Everything that happens in time and all the activities, the arranging, the performing, the creator, everything is Krishna. And this is the beautiful understanding that they are giving. that now I pay obeisances. So here Prabhupada writes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing in different incarnations, can never be limited by time, since he is the time himself, the shelter of time, and the witness of time in all its phases. Indirectly, the beautiful Nagapatnis, what they are doing, they are trying to tell Krishna, everything is you. You are the person who is there in the superstore. You are everywhere. You are the arranger. You are the person who tells the soul to act, but the fault committed, you are not affected. You are the person who gives punishment. You are the person who decides the punishment. You are the person who arranges in a particular time a particular pastime. You come and play the pastime. You give the punishment. You arrange it. You source it. Everything is you. So what do we learn out of this? We learn that we should understand even when we blame our time, Prabhu ji, हमारा समय खराब है. We should not blame time because even time takes shelter of Krishna. So when our time is bad, we should go to Krishna. We should not go to an astrologer and put our hand and say, can you tell me which time will be correct? No, the entire time is actually taking shelter of Krishna. And hence, if the entire time is taking shelter to Krishna, then in our life, our time should be given to Krishna. Because time which we have, if we give to Krishna, then time will be blessed. Time will say, I am trying to go there, you are giving your time to him. So indirectly, our acharyas are saying, my dear devotees, please give your time to Krishna, not because that you are giving, because time would like to take shelter of Krishna. So hence it is important that we give the best time of our life to Krishna. Because I am also trying, but we should always try to give the best time, the Brahma Muhurta time, and we give it to Krishna. That is offering shelter to Krishna. And he, being a witness of that time, records in his book that today my great devotees living in this part of the universe, out of the millions of universe, woke up for Mangalarti and put their hands in the beat bag and chanted the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the last verse for today, the two verses, we will talk about them and we will close it here because it's exactly 1 hour. The 42 and the 43rd verse are both together, but it's a very simple. It looks like a very big purport, but it's a very, very simple verse. Can others be on mute? Bhuta matrendriya prana mano buddhi ashyatmane त्रिगुणेन अभिमानेन गूढ़स्वत् आत्मनुभूतये नमो अनंताय सूक्ष्माय कुटस्थाय विपश्चिते. Please keep this verse very clearly in the heart. Can others be on mute? I can mute them. Okay. Namo Anantaya Sukshmaya. I request everybody who is on the call to go on mute. Namo Anantaya Sukshmaya Kutasthaya Vipaschite Nana Vadana Rodhaya Vachya Vachaka Shaktaye. So what are they trying to say? The two verses, they say, first and foremost, we would like to say we are sitting in water and praying all this to you. And we look at and we are in the middle of the island. So while looking at all of this, all the physical elements, Bhuta Matrendriya Prana, you are the prana, you are the very vital air of life. And Matra, you are the subtle basis of perception of the senses. Our senses has this subtle perception. Our eyes perceive something, our ears perceive something, our fragrance nose perceives something, taste, the tongue perceives something, the skin, the touch perceives something. All these subtle perceptions are coming from you, Krishna. You are the Lord of Bhuta, all the physical elements, earth, water, fire, ether. Prana, you are the very life air. Mano Buddhi, you are the essence of the vital air of life, mind, intelligence, and Asyatmane, and the consciousness. So in the first two verses, they mention that you are everything. Then, Trigunena Abhimanena. Now they are talking about people who are inflicted with false ego and who are under the modes of material nature. Trigunena, under the influence of false ego. How? Abhimanena, by false identification. Abhimanena, Trigunena Abhimanena, Guda Swatmanubhutaye. They become completely covered. Swa Atmanubhutaye means in one's own self, and they perceive that they are the greatest entities. Whom are they talking about here? None other than their beloved husband. Kaliya does not understand that you are the lord of all physical elements, and he is capturing one physical element. And he knows the Jalastamba. He actually knows this architecture. He is actually making these big elements solid out of water, and he is thinking he is the lord of the elements. Actual lord of the elements is you, Krishna. And Kaliya is hearing all this. Oh yeah, Krishna is the actual lord of all elements. And he is like an asthma patient. He is actually going to die because you danced on his head. He is not even able to take a vital air. Look at him. You are Krishna. You are the one who gives the vital air. You are the one who gives the buddhi. You are the one who gives the consciousness. Please give it to our husband. And because of that, he has surrendered unto you. And because he is a Jivatma, he thinks that he can lord over this material nature due to his false ego and pride. And that is why he has lost his perception and senses. So, what should he do? Namo Anantaya Sukshmaya Kutasthaya Vipaschite. Namo Anantaya Sukshmaya. He should understand we offer our obeisances unto you, the unlimited Anantaya, unlimited. Sukshmaya. Susukshmaya means very subtle, the supremely subtle one. Huh? The omniscient personality of Godhead. Kutasthaya, this word, my dear devotees, the acharyas have explained beautifully. This word Prabhupada mentions as Kutasthaya means who is fixed in the center. But our acharyas have brilliant meanings for this word. Kutasthaya, they say you are the personality of Godhead who is always fixed in the center means who doesn't change, whose transcendence is fixed. It's not that Golok Vrindavan is there today, tomorrow it is not there. Your Dham is constantly fixed. In other words, your Vrindavan is constantly fixed. In other words, Krishna, you are always there in Vrindavan, your center point is fixed. Just like a center point of the circle remains fixed and only the radiuses change, the circles change and become concentric to each other. Krishna, you are the center who doesn't change. Everything else around you changes, but your Dham, your transcendence doesn't change. Why? And many people speak differently. Nana Vadhanu Rodhaya. Many people speak different philosophies. Even in Sampradayas, they speak different philosophies. Let me tell you, Vachya Vachaka Shaktaye. You are the one who creates this contradiction amongst philosophies and opposing views of philosophies. And you are the one who gives them power to uphold their contradicting philosophies, and you sit and enjoy. This is a very wonderful verse. Anytime you hear contradicting philosophies and you think that why this person is explaining, please understand Krishna is giving that and he is enjoying it. Here it says, who sanction the opposing views of different philosophies and who are the power upholding expressed ideas and the words expressed. So he loves different philosophies. He gives the power to the people to speak different philosophies. He is the one giving the words and he is the one who expresses them and enjoys. So this is the first upper meaning of this. To go into the deeper meaning, it will take us more time, but we are running out of time. So we will take it tomorrow. We will complete the prayers. And after this are very simple prayers where they are offering obeisances. Only the first 5 prayers, they are giving all rational and important logic. But this logic is very beautifully explained. So we will stop here because it's almost 1 hour from the time we started. And we will take away this learning today that this beautiful prayers we should try to memorize, especially this prayer of contradiction. This is one of the most beautiful prayer. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahatmane Bhutavashasya Bhutaya Paraya Paramatmane. Every day when we go before the Lord, if we say this prayer, Krishna becomes very pleased. Krishna becomes very pleased because these are the prayers offered out of obeisances, and we can also offer our obeisances in this particular way. And we always, with these prayers, remember that Krishna is also very wonderfully pleased by stuti or by prayerful attitude. And Krishna gets pleased by sincere devotion. So, by reciting these prayers, we should ask and beg for mercy from the Supreme Lord so that the Kaliya, who is residing in the heart as anarthas with thousands of hoods, are being given the shower of the dust of his lotus feet, which is capable of eradicating all the material desires and helping us manifest the supreme desire, which is not liberation but pure devotional service. I thank you very much. Thank you for giving this opportunity. So today to talk about it, and I thank for giving us time for taking this time out and being here. Yadatra sthalitam kinchit vidvam sampurayantu tat yadatra saushtuvam kinchit tad gurur eva me nahi. If there is some mistakes, that is truly mine, and those mistakes can be completely eradicated because you are all vidwans, very nice devotees and learned. You can please complete and also correct my mistakes by pointing it out. Yadatra saustram kinchit. In case you found something very wonderful, that all belongs to my Gurujanas, my Shiksha Gurus, and also the great Gaudiya Acharya Parampara, which is written by these wonderful translations and purports written by Sanatana Goswami, Madhvacharya, Sridhar Swami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and of course our beloved Srila Prabhupada. So with that, I conclude here, open to questions, comments, critiques, corrections. Hare Krishna. So if there are any questions, comments.
Prabhuji, thank you so much for beautifully explaining all the wonderful prayer.
Yeah.
Just one clarification in that verse. I missed that verse. It says, you 640, Prabhu, 1640.
1640. Let me just share. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jnana Vijnana Brahmane Ananta Shaktaya Agunaya Vikraya Namaste Pratataya. Yes, Prabhu.
So this Prabhupada translated it Prakritaya. Prakritaya means you are the prime mover of the material nature.
Yeah.
So your explanation, I didn't get it fully. Could you explain it again, Prabhuji? The prime
mover of material nature, he says that first of all, they say that you have full knowledge and consciousness, jnana and vijnana. Then they say that you are completely free of material qualities.
Fine.
That means he doesn't have any material qualities.
That's why he is known as Nirguna. Yeah, correct. Nirguna. Yeah, correct.
So he doesn't have any material qualities. Yeah. And at the same, because he doesn't have material qualities, he does not transform. Because only material things undergo a law of diminished birth, death, old age, like that it goes. He does not. So you are free of material qualities and transformations. But nature undergoes transformation, like seasons change, like different things come. Correct. So though you are not transforming, but you are the cause of making others transform.
Correct.
So hence you are the prime mover of material nature.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So look at the beautiful way of contradicting and they're speaking.
Okay. So for me, even before going through the purport of Prabhupada, free of material nature immediately is Nirguna, that's clear. And transformation, because Krishna is having a transcendental body, that is, Divya, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam.
Yeah.
So the transcendental body, it is also eternal. Yeah. So it never undergoes any transformation. So I was thinking that, okay, yeah, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam is correct. So this is no transformations. Yeah. But the last one, you are the prime mover of material nature. My mind immediately taking me to, oh, though after creation of material energy, that means none of the particle was moving. So the Lord himself entering each and every atom and then moving. So I thought, oh, he is the prime mover.
That is also a correct way of looking at it, Prabhu. That's also a correct way of looking at it. I mean, Trinamapi na chalati. He enters into every single atom. Anoraniyan, Mahato Mahiyan. He enters into every single atom and he makes it move. That's also a beautiful realization. And he is a prime mover of material nature. And because that moves, that atom moves, that positron moves, that neutron moves, and that he makes it to move, that moves the material nature. And hence, though he is not moving and transforming in his nature, he causes all transformations.
Excellent. Thank you, bro. Thank you.